President Donald Trump calls on Russia and Ukraine to stop where they are and end the war following a White House meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have propositions. Ukraine has such thousands of our production drones, but we don't have tomahawks. That's why we need tomahawks.
President Donald Trump tells Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky to make a deal with Russia, pouring cold water over Kiev's hopes for Tomahawk missiles as the U.S. leader renews a push to settle the war.
In leaving today, are you more or less optimistic that you are going to get those Tomahawks?
I'm realistic.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he was realistic on chances of receiving Tomahawk missiles after President Trump told him he did not want escalation.
India will not be buying oil from Russia. They've already de-escalated.
Trump reiterates his claim that India has stopped buying oil from Russia. He has earlier said that Prime Minister Modi assured him that New Delhi will stop purchasing Russian oil. India's foreign ministry had declined a phone conversation happened between both leaders. Afghanistan says at least 10 civilians were killed and a dozen more were wounded late on Friday in a Pakistani strike on a border province. Pakistan says its precision aerial strikes targeted a group of Taliban fighters. Afghanistan pulls out of a tri-nation series with Pakistan and Sri Lanka next month after 3 local cricketers were killed in an alleged aerial attack by Pakistan. Police fired tear gas and used stun grenades to disperse protesters outside Parliament building in Dhaka as major political parties in Bangladesh sign a roadmap Friday for political reforms. UK's Prince Andrew says he is renouncing his title to Duke of York. The decision came after discussions with his brother King Charles. The announcement comes amid further revelations about his ties to U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Court approved fugitive Mehul Choksi's extradition to India, adding that his arrest by the Belgian authorities on India's request is valid. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky came to White House to make a case for getting more long-range weapons, but U.S. President Donald Trump seemed to pour cold water on Kiev's push for Tomahawk and other missiles, instead telling him to make a deal with Russia.
So we're going to be talking about Tomahawks, and would much rather have them not need Tomahawks. Would much rather have the war be over, to be honest, because, you know, we're in it to get the war over. We're selling a lot of different types of weapon, as you know, to the European Union. We're not in it for that. We're in it to get it over.
After the meeting with Zelensky at the White House, Trump said on social media that he told the Ukrainian leader that it is time to stop the killing and make a deal. Trump also appeared to suggest both sides should accept their current front lines. The U.S. president, as recently as last month, said that he believed Ukraine could take back all its territory. But a day after agreeing to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin for a new summit, he had changed his tune.
I met with President Zelensky, as you know, today, and we had a very good meeting, very cordial meeting. In my opinion, they should stop the war immediately. You go by the battle line wherever it is, otherwise it's too complicated. You'll never be able to figure it out. You stop at the battle line, and both sides should go home, go to their families, stop the killing, and that should be it. Stop right now at the battle line. I told that to President Zelensky. I told it to President Putin. Thank you very much, everybody.
Now, Trump has appeared far more upbeat about the prospects of a deal since his 2.5-hour call with Putin on Thursday, in which they agreed to meet in Budapest. Trump added that he believed Putin wants to end the war.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, you know, what if? I think he will. I think that President Putin wants to end the war, or it wouldn't be talking this way. I think he wants to end the war. I spoke to him yesterday for 2.5 hours. We went through a lot of details. He wants to get it ended. I think that President Zelensky wants to get it ended. Now we have to get it done.
First of all, I think we need to sit and speak. The second point, we need ceasefire. Even now, you see in the Middle East, it's very difficult to hold ceasefire. Everywhere, in every war, it's very difficult. We want peace. Putin doesn't want. That's why we need pressure on him. We will speak with President today what we need.
Zelensky said after the meeting that Russia was afraid of the U.S.-made long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles, but that he was realistic about receiving the weapons from Washington. He told reporters that while he and Trump talked about long-range weapons, they decided that we shouldn't speak about it because the United States does not want escalation.
I think that Russians afraid about Tomahawks, really afraid, because it's a strong weapon. And they know what we have, what kind of weapon we have, our production. And they understand that combination with Tomahawks, because we speak about it. We don't speak about Tomahawks like Tomahawks. We need combination. And that's why they're afraid of this combination. They understand what we can do.
You're leaving today. Are you more or less optimistic that you are going to get those Tomahawks?
I'm realistic.
That's not a yes or no.
Zelensky said he would be ready to swap thousands of Ukrainian drones in exchange for Tomahawks. Zelensky came to Washington hoping to capitalize on Trump's growing frustration with Putin after a summit in Alaska failed to produce a breakthrough. But the Ukrainian left empty-handed as Trump eyes a fresh diplomatic breakthrough on the back of last week's Gaza peace deal. All right, to discuss more, we're now being joined by Bishop Garrison from Virginia. He is a former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense and current senior fellow at the National Security Institute at George Mason University Law School. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Now, President Donald Trump has told Zelensky to make a deal with Russia, and there seems to be no talks of Tomahawk missiles so far. It doesn't seem like the U.S. wants to give the missiles to Ukraine. What options do Ukraine have then?
Sorry, I think the signal went out there for a second. Just in terms of first of all, thanks for having me. Just in terms of the discussions on Tomahawk missiles, this is something that's going to continue to come up. There is no single magic bullet when it comes to these types of weapons and this type of elongated war. I think President Zelensky understands that. He mentioned that he's willing to give up all types of drones and other pieces to get this new type of weaponry, but understands that it's going to take the continued resilience in order for them to really be able to push back Russia at this point. On the other side of the coin, you have President Putin, who understands that continuing this atrocity, this war that Russia started, this invasion, is only going to continue to damage his power at home, to continue to damage his economy through the multitude of sanctions that Russia has received, and is going to continue to be the quagmire that it's become for him. It's becoming an albatross for the Russian government. So they're going to have to find a way to move forward from this.
Absolutely, and that's a very important point you pointed out there. Now Trump and Putin are to meet again. Well, their first Alaska meeting did not yield anything. Do you think this time will be any different?
Time will tell. I know that, and we've seen it here in your views, just saw that President Trump seems very motivated in order to bring about another ceasefire, to bring about some halt to the ongoing conflict here. We see that he's continuing to fight hard to get that out of the Israeli-Hamas conflict. I think he believes that he has an opportunity to do something similarly here, but the issue is here that it is not in Putin's best interest either to stop his hostilities or to continue them. Is kind of a catch-22 here. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of agreement Putin is willing to sign. He's already pushed forward things that are just not going to work for the Ukrainian government. When you talk about absolute forbidding the entry of Ukraine, into NATO or into the European Union, when you talk about ensuring that Ukraine doesn't have continued military aid from Western countries, these are things that Ukraine is just not going to accept. So the question is, what kind of agreement is Putin willing to give up at this point?
Absolutely. And on that point, because, of course, land acquisition, of course, is another point. Now, Trump also appeared to suggest both sides should accept their current front lines. Considering this, where do the peace deals stand, and what does Ukraine have to say on that? I'm sure they will be talking about land concessions. So is Trump denying that possibility, which he definitely was supporting Ukraine earlier?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's yet another concession that the Ukrainian government is not going to be able to accept. When you look back at this war, it really began with the illegal invasion of Crimea and holding of that land. They continue to see the Crimean Peninsula as a part of Ukraine, as they should, and they want it back. They want back any and all of the territory that Russia has illegally invaded. So saying that we can just draw a magical line and call it a day, that's something that's not going to work here. I do believe what potentially this administration sees is an opportunity to begin the conversation here, understanding that it is not going to be a part of the ultimate reality, but you have to start bringing the two sides together at some point and trying to push forward this type of conversation. And I think that's what we're ultimately going to see. But the land concession is a piece that I don't think is ultimately going to work for the Ukrainian government.
Right, and if at all is just a possibility, of course, we're hoping for everything that positive comes out of the talks, but if at all the talks do not gain any result, is there a possibility that U.S. Might give the long-range weapons to Ukraine?
I think the Trump administration and President Trump continue to hold the door open on that one. It doesn't seem as though it's completely closed. It also doesn't seem as though it is something that he's ultimately wanting to push forward with immediately. He's looking for other avenues of approach when it comes to resolving this conflict. And listen, I think the EU, the European nations, also want to find other ways of ending the conflict and supporting Ukraine that don't involve any continued loss of life or damage to critical infrastructure or any perpetuating of additional atrocities that we've seen thus far. So I think it's in everyone's best interest to find a way to resolve this peacefully. And it is true that if the United States were to give Ukraine Tomahawk missiles, it's only going to further the conflict to this point. As I said, it's about more than just any single weapon system. It's going to take a totality of weapon systems and tactics, and in some places even maybe a little luck in order to really resolve this. So anything we can do to resolve it peacefully is a path we want to try to take.
Absolutely. Well, of course, we'll be looking forward for anything that positive comes out of this whole talks. But thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving your insights on this. That was Bishop Garrison from Virginia joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, China's leadership has tightened its grip on the military once again. Beijing has expelled 2 senior generals from both the armed forces and the Communist Party, deepening President Xi Jinping's ongoing campaign against corruption. Announcing the decision, the Chinese said that the generals seriously violated party discipline. The expulsion comes as part of an investigation into 9 high-ranking officials. 8 of them have also lost Communist Party membership and positions in the Central Committee. This moves land just days before a key 4-day meeting in Beijing, known as the 4th Plenum. In the meeting, top party leaders will set long-term economic and national goals through the end of the decade. For President Xi, who has earlier called corruption the biggest threat to the party, this is another signal of his intent to consolidate control and reaffirm loyalty inside the ranks. But this purge extends beyond these 2 names. The National People's Congress has also dismissed Lieutenant General Liu Haitao, Party Deputy Army Commander, and Vice Admiral Li Pengcheng, former Naval Commander of the Southern Theater Command. Authorities accused both of serious violations of law and discipline. Over recent months, the People's Liberation Army has faced sweeping internal changes. In September, Deng Xiaoping, a deputy army commander once praised for his service during the Vietnam border clashes, was removed over corruption charges. The list of senior officials under scrutiny keeps growing. According to reports, over 56 senior officials at or above vice ministerial level are now under investigation. With the U.S. government shutdown entering the 3rd week, Republican Mike Rogers, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, has warned that the shutdown could force the layoffs of most of the employees handling the nation's nuclear weapons. And according to Rogers, the National Nuclear Security Administration, or NNSA, is on the verge of running out of funds and could soon lay off 80% of their employees. The warning comes a day after the U.S. Senate failed for the 10th time to pass a bill to reopen the government. The NNSA is responsible for designing, manufacturing, servicing, and securing U.S. nuclear weapons. It has fewer than 2,000 federal employees who oversee some 60,000 contractors. The U.S. has a stockpile of 5,177 nuclear warheads, with about 1,770 deployed. Now, there is a twist in the tale of festive buying this year. Gold has always been the traditional favorite in Indian homes, but this season, including the Dhanteras, buying a shining challenger is stealing some of the spotlight. That is silver. With gold prices soaring to record highs, silver is quietly but powerfully stepping up, both as investment and a festive buy option. So is silver becoming the new gold for many Indian buyers this season? Our special report breaks it down. Take a look.
This year, Indians celebrating Dussehra, Dhanteras, Diwali and the wedding season are facing a dilemma. Gold is just too expensive. What should they buy? The yellow metal is at an all-time high, putting pressure on buyers, especially those shopping for festive gifts or wedding jewelry. Enter silver, the other top precious metal, now playing a much bigger role. Silver prices have also surged in India by around 80% this year, outpacing gold's nearly 60% rise. In Delhi and Ahmedabad, silver was trading at a record of around 1.4 lakh rupees or 10.4 million rupees per kilogram. Despite the record-breaking rally, silver is still far more affordable per unit, making it attractive to buyers who feel priced out of gold.
In the recent we can say about in the last 1 month, the demand for silver is really high. People have been shifting, but at the same time, those who are interested in gold, they are also buying gold also. Gold has its own charm, but you can say that yes, as we see in the social media also, the demand for silver is really high at this time.
There's more to silver's shine than just price. Long prized in homes and temples, silver has traditionally been the common man's gold. With the festive demand surging, the shortage is sure to hit traders significantly further. Shoppers aren't just buying jewelry, they're picking up silver coins, utensils, even investment-grade silver bars and ETFs.
People are moving towards silver, but more towards bullion. The demand for bullion and coins is more than vessels and jewelry. During the festivals, we expect people to buy idols, but consumers are buying coins as an investment.
And let's not forget, gold is gold. In India, gold remains the ultimate symbol of wealth, purity and tradition, especially for weddings and long-term savings. Silver may be hot right now, but it doesn't yet completely carry the same emotional or social value.
Those who want gold want only gold. Those who want silver will not go for gold, and those who want gold will not go for silver. That's because there's a lot of difference in the rates.
So, is silver the new gold? For many Indian consumers this festive season, yes, in some ways. It's cheaper compared to gold and is rising fast. But gold's emotional and cultural hold remains strong, and its status as a safe haven asset is still unmatched.
This festive season, silver is getting everyone's attention as a cheaper alternative to gold. With prices rising fast, more people are choosing silver for gifts and investments. But while silver shines right now, gold's special place in Indian tradition still holds strong. Well, from festive markets, this is Adhya Juneja for WION World is One.
Hollywood heartthrob Zac Efron turns 38 today. From a teen idol to a versatile actor making his mark across genres, Efron's journey has been one of evolution and reinvention. Born on October 18, 1987 in California, the star shot to fame as Troy Bolton in Disney's High School Musical franchise, a role that made him a global sensation and the poster boy of an entire generation. Over the years, he broke free from his teen image and with critically acclaimed roles in films like The Greatest Showman, Extremely Wicked, and Neighbors, showing off both his range and charm. In recent years, the 38-year-old has shifted towards more meaningful projects. His Netflix docuseries Down to Earth with Zac Efron explored sustainable living and won him a Daytime Emmy Award. But life in the spotlight has not been without its challenges. Efron has been open about his struggles with addiction and his long recovery journey. He also made headlines for his changed facial appearances after a 2013 jaw injury, which sparked online speculation, something he later addressed with honesty. Today, Efron continues to inspire fans with his resilience and reinvention. All right, with that, we call a wrap to this bulletin, but don't go anywhere. News and updates follow on the other side. You're watching WION World is One. Stay tuned.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
You understand that? This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
The best day of my life.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace for their great contribution to this effort.
This Diwali week, in the spirit of illumination and discovery, we're exploring a house at the bottom of the ocean. We're boarding a ship to Antarctica. We're taking a ride on hydrogen-powered race cars. We're discovering hidden secrets that lie beneath layers of paint on Caravaggio's paintings. And we're taking a virtual tour of browsers powered by AI. All this and more on Tech It Out, only on WION at these times.
As people across the world celebrate the Festival of Lights, we get you a list of movies you can watch this Diwali season. Along with a festive style guide that you can take cues from. Also know all about Hayao Miyazaki's timeless films of Ghibli universe. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
On Inside South Asia this week, Afghanistan-Pakistan ties on the brink of complete breakdown. Gruesome bomb attacks to intensifying border skirmishes, the new normal. The Maldives becomes the first country to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV, hepatitis B and syphilis. And it's Diwali season, decorating and shopping and celebrating the festive season. This and much more on Inside South Asia.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
This week on the West Asia Post. A no-show that speaks louder than words. Saudi and Emirati rulers skip Gaza Peace Summit. What's really brewing in the Arab world? Turkey's Air Force ambition faces an American hurdle. Can Ankara's new Air Force era take flight? Abu Dhabi rewrites the rules of marriage. Love stories now go digital.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, only on WION. World is One.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Hello and welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching Beyond World is One. I'm Jyotsna Kumar. Let's begin with the headlines.
And then it could mean big, escalation. It could mean a lot of bad things can happen. Tomahawks are a big deal.
President Donald Trump reportedly tells Ukraine's Zelensky that he doesn't intend to provide long-range Tomahawk missiles, at least for now, during a meeting at the White House.
President Israel, that we have to stop where we are. This is important, to stop where we are and then to speak.
Ukrainian President Zelensky says President Trump is right in calling for an immediate end to the war and for the two sides to stop where they are. Says a ceasefire is needed first to discuss the sensitive question of territory. At least 10 reported dead as Pakistan strikes Afghanistan's Paktika province. Reports say the strike came as Qatar was persuading both sides to extend their 48-hour-long ceasefire and arrange a meeting in Doha to negotiate a permanent truce. Afghanistan pulls out